podcast. I am your host, Cosmic Waters. May my words inspire you and remind you to remain true to you as you walk authentically in your truth, dripping self love and unapologetically choosing you. Hello, naked truthers. Welcome back. So, on this episode, I want to dive into self-love, but from a different perspective. Y'all know I receive inspiration from just about anything. And so, I was scrolling the lovely Blue app, also known as the Book of Faces, right? And I came across a post that mentioned self-love, like the movement of self-love being toxic. And as I perused the comments, it was going on to say how some gurus, some people, the way that they talk about or teach self-love makes it come off as if you can't desire or want another person to love or love you, right? And I can see how people can interpret it that way, right? As far as when people say, love starts within, loving yourself, self-love. It's a foundation you build within yourself first, right? And then you begin to share that with others. Or even when people say, stop looking for love outside of self. And I think that's where the misunderstanding may come in with that particular saying, right? Because it's like some people may interpret it as, well, if I can't have love outside myself, are you saying that I can't love somebody else? And that's not necessarily the case. When we dive into looking for love outside of self, that means, at least from my perspective, that you are seeking love, right? A lot of people chase behind love. They go looking for love. Oftentimes in the wrong people, in the wrong places, in the wrong situations. And they don't have a foundation of self-love built within them. So now this quote-unquote love that they are looking for is really masked behind, wanting someone to make them feel whole or complete, not realizing that they are already whole and complete, and no one can complete them. They must complete themselves, right? Or they may be looking for someone to fill these voids within them, that sense of emptiness, or like something is missing, or those voids, those wounds, and looking for somebody to fill them. What's truly missing is the fact that you don't love yourself. Your soul is screaming at you, hey, it is time for you to love me. Your reflection is waiting on you to love her or him, right? And so when I think about the saying, stop looking for love outside of self, it's simply saying, do not be dependent upon someone else's love. That level of codependency is toxic within itself, right? Do not be dependent upon someone else's validation. You don't need anyone to validate you, right? And when we tap back into codependency, that is, oh man, that really fucks shit up, because now it's like that person is what I consider a human drug, and you need them to keep you high, to keep you lifted, to keep you feeling good, right? To give you that dopamine hit. you need them. It is a difference between wanting and needing somebody. I don't ever want anybody to need me. Want me, yes. I'm here for it. But never a need, right? Because when you start talking about, I need you, that's damn near saying I can't live without you. And I don't ever want anybody to feel that way about me, honestly. Because that's some serious attachment, right? That's some serious codependency issues. Like, what do you mean you can't live without me? You have a whole life to live, right? And I think it boils down to people also getting into relationships and losing themselves and the relationship because they haven't established a sense of self, a sense of identity. They don't know who they are. And so when they get in a relationship with other people, they become that relationship. They become that person. And they lose them. Right? And so I don't ever want to hear those words from anyone. No. I don't want you to need me. And if anyone ever feels like they need me in their life, I'm going to tell them to go within and figure out why. What is the need? What am I basically numbing for you? If we think about drugs, they mask the pain, right? They basically suppress the symptoms. So what am I suppressing for you? What am I helping you escape from? What am I helping you not face? Right? Now, people can need you and not love you. People can need you and not give two fucks about you. People can need you for what you bring to them, how you make them feel, what you give to them, whatever the case may be behind their need, right? Because they need those voids filled. And it's not your responsibility to fill someone else's voids, honestly. And it's interesting because a lot of people have a desire, or it even could be a trauma behind needing to be needed. And if they feel like they are not needed, they feel like they're unimportant or worthless or not good enough, right? And it's like you have to break through needing to be needed. You know? You have to break through that. You have to let that go. And I used to have that. And I didn't realize it at first, needing to be needed, wanting somebody to need me, right? Because it makes you feel good about yourself in a way. Like, yeah, they need me. I'm of service. I'm helping somebody. Whatever the case may be. But when you think about it, it's actually steeped in trauma. And one day it hit me when someone didn't need me to do something that I was used to doing for them. And I was in my feelings. They didn't know about it, but I sat with myself in my feelings. Like, why am I feeling this way? Why is this even bothering me? You know, I honored the emotion for what it was, but I really was curious as to why. And it boiled down to they didn't need me anymore. And it made me feel that sense of abandonment, because I've dealt with abandonment issues. It made me feel that sense of abandonment, that sense of not being wanted, that sense of like, oh no. I don't even know how to really explain it as the feeling, like, but it hit me deep, and I had to really be like, damn, I'm tripping. In this moment, I am. But I honor it for what it is, and I appreciate it the way that situation played out, because I wasn't aware it was there until then. And then I was like, oh, I see. Right? This is surfacing for me to release. So I'm going to go ahead and work on releasing it and let go of the need to be needed. Because I don't see that as something that's healthy. And again, this is my perspective, my experience, right? My truth. So when we talk about self-love and the movement, I feel like it's a lifestyle, loving yourself on a daily basis, every second of every day. It really does need to be cultivated. Self-love is the key, right? A lot of people say, oh, well, self-love is selfish. But when you think about how we have been taught, I can see how people think this way, because we have been taught to put people before us. We have been taught to put our needs and our desires and our wants last, right? Everybody else is always at the top of the list. And oftentimes it's like, well, fuck you. And when I say fuck you, that's you saying fuck you to yourself, because you're not putting yourself first. And so we've been taught to be people pleasers, right? We've been taught these things. So then when you get hit with a different perspective, a different way of living, a different belief, it kind of clashes with what you already know or what you have been already taught. And I was like, loving myself, what is that? That's selfish. And then you feel guilty, and then you feel shameful because you are attempting to put you first. And then those people will attempt to make you feel bad too for not putting them first. And so it's like a cycle. And then you'll get people who say, oh, well, yeah, self-love is selfish. And it may be in a sense, but selfish in a way to where you are realizing that, hey, I do come first. That's just like when you're on an airplane and they tell you, put your damn oxygen mask on first before you try to save somebody else, because you can't save anybody else if you fucked up. And you really can't save anybody anyway. You can help guide them, but in this sense, you can't really save them. But it's just like, why is putting yourself deemed as a bad thing, right? And like I said, when you think about how we have been brought up and the societal constructs and the shit that's taught in society and things that are passed down through our generations, it makes sense as to why people struggle with loving themselves, as to why people struggle to say no, as to why people struggle to fucking spoil themselves, to treat themselves, to buy something for themselves, to celebrate themselves, right? To spend that time alone, to not want to do shit for anyone or be bothered by anybody, right? These are some of the things that people feel guilty for, including myself. I've gone through this on my self-love journey. It was the hardest thing for me to say no to people. It was the hardest thing for me to be like, okay, well, Cosmic, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need from you? You're always so focused on what everybody else needs for you or what you can do for everybody else. But what do you need? How can I help me? How can I love on me? Right? Because you begin to get into this place of self-abandonment and self-neglect. Right? We don't see it as that, though. No, we got to do everything for everybody else first. And then we come next or last. But by the time you make it back to yourself, you have no fucking energy left to take care of yourself. Now, how is that fair? That's selfish to me. Right? And so, in the beginning of the self-love journey, of making it into a lifestyle, it does feel a little awkward. It does feel like, man, I don't know if this is the right thing to be doing. And you will be hit with those different emotions. And like I was saying, people will attempt to make you feel guilty, right? But one of the things you definitely have to let go of is that right or wrong mentality, right? Because that'll get you fucked up right from the jump. Because, and I mentioned this on the previous episode, I believe, where you will always be wrong in somebody's eyes, because we don't view right and wrong and good and bad the same way. We look through different lenses when it comes to those words and when it comes to morals, right? Trying to be a good person for everybody else. And it's like, you're always going to be trying, because there's going to be something that you do or say that person is not going to see as quote unquote good. And like I've been saying, you're always going to play the villain in somebody's story. Get the fuck over it. Right? So it was just interesting when I came across the post, because I kind of side-eyed it. But then I was like, okay, let me get rid of the side-eye and actually understand. Right? And this is when that compassion activates and you're like, okay, I get it. I see from their perspective, their point of view. I get what they're saying. I feel their words, no judgment. But self-love, it is delicious. It is amazing. It is beautiful. It is powerful. It is you. Like, it is the essence. It is everything. It is that key that unlocks the door to a whole new life, a whole new world. There is nothing like the love for self. No one, and I truly mean no one, can love you in the way that you can love you. And I don't care who they are. That relationship that you have with yourself is the most important fucking relationship ever. And it needs to be maintained. It needs to be cultivated. Right? It does. And people are allowed to think what they think. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. So I'm not on here saying that post is wrong or the people that were on there and what they were saying is wrong. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying from my perspective, self-love has shifted everything for me. It really has. When I look back on the person I used to be, when I didn't love myself, I was fucking miserable. Life was miserable. All the shit that I was tolerating and accepting and putting up with, the abuse that I put myself through, right? The bullshit. The way that I was viewing life. The way that I was abandoning. Why does that sound so weird? The way I was abandoning myself and rejecting my own self and playing myself, right? Disrespecting myself, putting myself last, not caring about me. Like, I will never go back to that place, right? Not in tune with my body, my intuition, my inner beautiful, divine, feminine energy. Not in tune with the masculine side either. Hell, I didn't even know they existed before I got catapulted into the spiritual side of the game, right? Like, I didn't know anything about energy and all that good stuff, but it's just, I don't know, I just have a passion when it comes to self-love. So that post kind of was just like a huge inspiration to me. And I'm just like, listen, you can love yourself and love other people too. You do not have to choose between one or the other. No. You develop that love for self and then you share that with the world or who you choose to share it with. Right? You embody love. You be love because you are love. As babies, we come out pure love energy. Babies, toddlers, and children are some of the most purest loving beings ever. Before they get tainted, right? And it's so pure. And it's like you can choose to love who you love. Just because you have love for self doesn't stop you from loving the next person. Doesn't mean that you can't have a relationship with somebody. And I think that's where the misunderstanding kind of plays a part, right? Because believe it, I'ma love me. I'ma love the fuck out of me. And I'ma love him. And if I want to love another him, I'ma love him too. And, outside of relationship love, on the platonic side of the game, yeah, I spread love. It's what I do. It's who I am. Right? But if I didn't have that love for myself, I wouldn't be able to give it so freely, so effortlessly, so genuinely, so compassionately. so orgasmically. No, seriously though. If I didn't know what that meant for myself and I had to discover it, because when I think back on my past relationships, situationships, bonds, friendships, whatever, when I think back on them, it's like the love was kind of capped off, because it was only a certain depth that I would allow people to tap into me and love me, and it was only a certain amount of depth that I would allow myself to love other people. Now I don't have a cap on it. I allow myself to receive love, to give love, to be love. There is no fear in my love. I'm not fearful to love anyone, to let anyone into my heart. I'm not fearful. But let me clear that up, because I'm not just letting anybody in my heart space. Put it that way. Discernment, boundaries are important. But what I'm saying is there's no fear there anymore when it comes to loving someone or allowing someone to love me, right? So it's just, it flows. I'm gonna read my comment from that particular post, and I'm gonna just read what I said there, because I did comment on it. I did. So I'm gonna share that with y'all. So this was my response. Depends on how you look at it, or should I say, it depends on who's teaching it and then how it's interpreted as well. You can definitely have both. The point of loving oneself is so you don't become dependent upon someone else's love or look for them to fill your voids. When it's said to stop looking for love outside of self, it's simply saying to build that foundation of self-love within first, so you won't find yourself settling or tolerating BS. And then you can share the love you have for yourself with someone else as they do the same. It's reciprocal and not full of toxicity and struggle. And when you come across someone that doesn't love themselves, you'll realize it, because you'll see that they can only love you as deep as they love themselves. At least this is how I look at it, as I know opinions vary, but I'm definitely going to be loving me and a him too, and maybe even another him if I so choose. So that was my response to the post. I didn't go on there attacking anybody for their opinions or anything like that. I just decided to share my perspective on it, and just open up the dialogue. Like, listen, self-love does not mean you can't love anybody else. Does not mean that you can't be in a relationship or desire human connection, right? It does not mean that. So understand that loving you and loving them is okay too. I just wanted to make that clear. And for those of you on your self-love journey, oh man, I love y'all. And if you need any guidance, assistance, if you have any questions, hit me up. I know in the beginning it's kind of like a mind fuck, and it's not easy. I get that. And I just want to be here to hold space if that's what y'all need, or to share a few words, however it may go, right? No judgment. I remember how it was in the beginning, first starting out. And it's like, well, how do I go about loving me? I don't know what that means. How? Somebody show me. Right? And in the midst of my healing, it was just revealed. Like, okay, as I went through my traumas and released the baggage, and as I began to, shed all the labels and the titles and the expectations and the beliefs and the traditions and everything and everyone that did not serve me, I began to develop new habits and new patterns, healthy ones, setting up boundaries, right? And I began to see, like, oh, I am more than enough. I am worthy. I am deserving. My standards are not too high. I am not asking for too much. I am not too emotional. I am not too sensitive. I am not what all these people have told me that I am, right? I don't have to be that person. I don't have to please anybody. I don't have to do shit for anyone. I can say no to people. When you let go of the guilt and the shame behind saying no, it begins to feel really good. I ain't gonna front. Because you are truly being honest with yourself and you are honoring the fact that you really don't want to fucking do something and you don't guilt trip yourself into doing it. And you don't feel bad about saying no. And it feels good. Somebody could ask you to do something or go somewhere or whatever. And you just be like, nah, I'm not feeling it. I don't want to. And that can hit you with a why. I don't have to explain myself to you. Capital N, capital O, exclamation point, ... That's all you fucking need to know. That's it. That's all. Nothing else. I don't want to do it. And that is more than enough of a reason. Right? I'm telling you, it feels really good when you start to say no. And don't force yourself to be somewhere you don't want to be or do something for someone that you really don't want to fucking do. There's no pressure, right? You're not making yourself miserable. You're not going against your own intuition. Just fucking know, and that's it. So, for me, in the beginning, I didn't really have a guide. It wasn't like okay, well, this is how you love yourself. Follow these steps. I just kind of figured it out along the way, right? And, as I listened to certain people that were in my circle, talk about different things, the light bulb will go off like, this is something that I need to work on. Yeah, this is some baggage that I'm carrying, right? It will begin to shine light on the skeletons that were in my own closet, on the shit that was lurking in my shadows. It would begin to bring an awareness like, damn, okay, I have to do better, right? And I began to see the ways in which I was toxic. I really began to see the ways in which I was like, oh God, a hot ass mess, and I had to get my shit together, right? So I try not to say to people, well, this is a guide for you, like, a 12-step program or something. But I am more than open and willing to share my journey and how I did it for me and what I've experienced and some of the healing modalities that worked for me and some of the things that I had to shed and let go of and the experiences and the layers that I had to peel back and the baggage or the traumas that I had to unpack and face and be honest and real with myself, right? I can share all of that and maybe it'll shine some light and help somebody else. But when it comes to loving yourself, I do feel like it's going to be different for each individual. It may be similarities, but I feel like each individual experiences it differently, right? And for me, what really activated, I would say, all of this was walking away from a relationship that I was in for like 6 years. And it was like once I walked away and I began to re-examine everything, I was finally able to see how I needed to better myself. I couldn't see it when I was with him, but after I walked away, I don't know, it was just like something fucking clicked and everything just started making sense. And it was just like, okay, the spirituality side of the game just started to come in and my gifts started to show up and the awareness level and the perspective, and I began to come across all these spiritual people that was, up on higher awareness levels than me, sharing their gems. And it was like a whole fucking domino effect. Once I finally let go, it was like the blindfold had been taken from my eyes and I could see, right? My pineal gland began to decalcify, as they say. And I began to see the unseen within the scene that hadn't been seen yet, but had been seen. I just wasn't paying attention to it. So, yeah. It's just a really beautiful thing. And I'm going to begin creating what I call a self-love series. I started, I think on TikTok and IG was where I posted it. Maybe Facebook too, the video. And it was just a brief video about what self-love is, or how does self-love look like for me, like loving myself. How does that look like for me? And I just touched on certain ways in which I begin to love me, right? Just like I'm doing now, just touching on certain aspects that like really, really stood out to me, or like really helped me. And the biggest one is honestly figuring out who I was. It was like a whole new discovery period. It was like a whole new me, right? A whole new brand, a whole new cosmic, right? And it's funny because cosmic, of course that's not my real name, but cosmic is, I guess you can call it a spiritual name if you want to. It's a name that I resonate with very heavily, and I'm so used to being called cosmic that when I get called my real name, it's like, wait, who's that? No, but in this period of my life, I just resonate more with cosmic waters. I resonate more with that. And I shifted into cosmic. It's been almost 2 years, I believe now, or it might be exactly at 2 years. And it's been fucking beautiful. I love it. I really do. And I'm at a place of just gratitude, honestly, that I can be at a place to where now I can help others free themselves and love themselves, be dope as fuck, and see the worth within themselves and see the beauty within themselves. Like, yes. So I'm just, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for those of you that are listening to this right now. And I hope that it inspires you to love on you. I really do. You're dope. As I look down at my phone, I see 222. It's not the time, but it's just the number and what I'm looking at, My Cash App has 2s in it. So that number has been popping up for me a lot. But that was dope to see. But yes, I'm not going to hold y'all too long. I just wanted to share that thought from that post and just encourage loving yourself and understanding that you can love yourself and you can love her too. You can love yourself and you can love him too. You can love yourself and you can love them. Yes, I said them too. And you can love whoever you choose to fucking love. Right? No matter the gender, no matter, it doesn't matter. You can love who you choose to love. Right? Self-love doesn't stop you from loving other people. But it does serve as a protection in a sense, because that discernment kicks in and you don't place yourself in situations that are going to be toxic or doesn't serve you or that's not healthy for you. So yeah, self-love stops you from being your own abuser. And that is the beauty of it, because like I said, it changes the whole trajectory of your life. So the choice is yours, always. And like I said, if you need any assistance, I am here. Reach out to me via a voice note, through my podcast, via one of my social media outlets, whether it's through TasteMyNakedTruths@gmail.com or Taste My Naked Truths on IG. I'm Cosmic Waters on TikTok. However you choose to find me and reach out to me, I am here. Just know that, okay? So I'm going to close out this episode. Oh, before I do, because there was a quote that I wanted to read by Eartha Kitt. She's such a vibe. Oh my God. It would be dope if I could find the video clip. So let me put y'all on pause while I go find this clip. It'd be dope. I'll play some elevator music right now, right? But yeah, no, I really want y'all to hear her perspective, because I came across it a couple of years ago, and I was just like, yes, it resonated with me. Like, oh man. Okay, so I actually found it while I just kept talking, right? So she goes and she says, it's all about falling in love with yourself and sharing that love with someone who appreciates you, rather than looking for love to compensate for a self-love deficit. Like, that quote is so fucking beautiful, because it says exactly what I just said to y'all, right? If you think about everything I just said, it sums it up beautifully, right? Falling in love with yourself, sharing that love for self with somebody else who appreciates you, right? Instead of going out in this world and seeking for love, chasing for love, looking for love, to basically make up for the lack of love that you have within yourself. But nobody can feel that. And that's what I was talking about with the voids. You will forever feel empty until you learn to love yourself, because nobody can feel that for you. And so yes, you have to be full of yourself. Why would you want to be full of anyone else or anything else? Be full of you. Unapologetically love on you. And there's a video clip by her, and she speaks about relationship and compromise. And I want to play it for y'all. Okay, here it goes. I found it. This is a YouTube video.
Can anyone live with Eartha Kitt?
That's not for me to decide. Not for someone who decides to live with me to decide. Not for me.
But are you willing to compromise within a relationship?
To compromise? What is compromising? Compromising for what? Compromising for what reason? To compromise for what? To compromise. What is compromise?
If a man came into your life, wouldn't you want to compromise?
Stupid. A man comes into my life and I have to compromise? You must think about that one again. A man comes into my life and you have to compromise for what? For what? For what? A relationship is a relationship that has to be earned, not to compromise for. And I love relationships. I think they're fantastic. They're wonderful. I think they're great. I think there's nothing in the world more beautiful than falling in love. But falling in love for the right reasons. Falling in love for the right purpose. Falling in love. Falling in love. When you fall in love, what is there to compromise about?
Isn't love a union between two people? Or does Eartha fall in love with herself?
I think if you were to think about it in terms of analyzing, yes, I fall in love with myself, and I want someone to share it with me. I want someone to share me with me.
I've always loved this video clip, especially like when she busts out laughing. But I love it. I do. I want someone to share me with me, and that's a fact. Like, let me share all of me and all this beautiful love for self that I have with you. I love me, and I will know how to love you. I will be able to love you by simply just loving me, right? And don't get me wrong, we all have our love languages, but in me loving me, I will be able to extend my love freely, genuinely, with compassion, with grace, with patience, with understanding, right? And then she talked about compromise. And I thought that was dope because when you get into a relationship, the aspect of compromise does pop up. And oftentimes people compromise themselves to be in a relationship. That I don't agree with. I feel like if you can't be in a relationship, a connection, a bond, whatever the fuck it is, a friendship, a business partnership, whatever, if you can't be who you truly are in any of that, why the fuck are you with that person? So now you have to pretend to be something or someone you're not, or be less of who you are. Please tell me how that's healthy. That's disrespectful to your entire being. So in that sense of a compromise, no, I don't agree with that shit. Right? Because you should be able to show up as you are, all of you, and be fully embraced. Not tolerated, fully fucking embraced and loved. Right? So fuck compromising who you are to be in a relationship. I don't agree with it. I don't. If that person isn't feeling who you are, okay, cool. You don't have to fuck with them on that level, right? But don't dare change yourself to make someone else comfortable. Don't you dare change who you are to soothe someone else's insecurities, right? Don't you dare. Be you, be free, unapologetically. Hey, that rhymed. Seriously though, you know, a lot of people get into these relationships and wonder why they're not happy, because you can't even fully express you. You can't even be the full expression of who you are at your core, right? Because something about you makes that person uncomfortable. You may be a trigger to them, and now you gotta be quiet. You can't be extra loud and outgoing and fun and joyful and however your personality is set up, because it bothers them and they want you to go sit down and be quiet and not be you. And it's like, that's a compromise? Fuck out of here. So be with someone who appreciates all of you, who appreciates the love for self that you have for yourself and enjoys sharing you with you as they share them with you, right? And it's a mixture of some beautiful ass energy. Both of y'all are your own individual being. No one is lost in the other person, and y'all are loving on each other as y'all continue to love on yourselves. That love continuously grows. It is organic, it is natural, it freely flows. Ashe to the bars. That ass though, y'all, for real. Evaluate your relationships, your friendships, your partnerships, your situationships, your fuck buddies, your sugar daddies, whoever, whatever title or position they hold in your life. Evaluate it, seriously, and see, are you truly being you in these situations, and why not? And the effect that has on you. It's time for y'all to bust the fuck free. Be who you are on all levels, regardless of how someone's gonna feel, or regardless of their thoughts, their opinions, their expectations of you. Who the fuck cares? Who cares if they side-eye you? Who cares if they get on social media and talk about you? Who cares? Fuck that gossip shit. Don't entertain it, right? Don't give away your power to that bullshit. But be you on all levels. And that's what self-love encourages. And so, is self-love truly selfish? Is the question that I'm going to leave y'all with. Is it selfish? Right? Is it toxic? We all have different opinions, and I'm curious as to what y'all think and how y'all feel about it. So, I'm going to end on that note. I feel like I'm complete. I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday. Have a beautiful fucking weekend. And if you're listening to this during the week, have a beautiful, beautiful week. Right? Good day, good morning, good rising, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Buenos dias, bonjour, guten morgen. I don't know, I'm hearing konnichiwa, right? There's another way that I knew how to speak. Another language, but it's slipping my mind right now. But that's good enough for now, right? Yes. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Thank you. Remember to follow the podcast and leave a rating if you so desire. And if ever you want to support the podcast and pour into me, you can do so by simply clicking the support this podcast button, and monetary options will pop up, or you can pour into my Cash App, which is listed under the podcast, or it's simply $JONESYDOM, the number 33. So Jonesy Dom 33. And of course that's not mandatory, but I'm always open to receive as I welcome in the abundance. Ashe. And also, my self-love workbook, for those of you who may not be aware of it, is available for purchase via Amazon. That can be clicked on through my link tree for easy access, or you can type in "A Loving Myself Cosmic Waters" on Amazon, and it should pull me up for you. And it's 222 pages. It has affirmations, journaling prompts. It has meditation challenges, a self-love challenge. It has like a bingo board on the inside. It has different ways to love yourself, many different healing modalities, from Reiki to solfeggio frequencies, intuitive eating, sunbathing, earthing, grounding, yoga, mental health, honoring your emotions, all that beautifulness that I put into this book / journal. Self-reflection, self-improvements, hype therapy, expressing yourself, right? All this divine juiciness to help you cultivate self-love for yourself, right? If you are up for that, like I said, you can purchase it via Amazon. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope that it brings you guidance and inspiration, empowerment, and you can feel the love through each and every page. And that is all I have for y'all tonight. I will be working on getting the Kinks and Fetishes Pleasure podcast episode going. I have several people who are interested, so stay tuned for that. I look forward to that deliciousness on all levels, like diving into the pleasure side of things, the taboo side of things. Like, I want to know what turns y'all on. I want to know the what people might deem as awkward or nasty, or just like, what the fuck. I want to dive deep into that because I'm curious, right? Shit, I might find out something I might want to explore. So I'm definitely ready to dive into that with you beautiful souls. And if you are interested in being a part of that episode, reach out to me. Please, I don't care where you are in the world. If you want to be on the Kinks and Fetishes Pleasure episode, I haven't titled it yet in my brain, but that's what it's going to be about. You know, if you're a part of the BDSM community and you want to come on and talk about your experience with that, let's fucking do it. So no matter where you're listening from, if you are down and you want to talk and discuss with me your experiences, your desires, your kinks, your passions, your fetishes, all that deliciousness, please reach out. And if you want to be anonymous, I will leave you anonymous. You can come on and have your voice heard, or you can write me. Right? I have opened up my podcast so where y'all can actually send me emails and share with me your feedback, your comments, your stories, right? You can do that through the email or you can do it through social media, but please, like, because I want it to just be juicy, like, yeah, so, like, I'm gonna be like, so, this is a response from an email that I received. And of course, like I said, if you want to remain anonymous, you can, or if you have, like, this cool pet name that you go by, like, I don't know, Sexy Watermelon, or Divine Peach, Ethereal Unicorn, whatever. That's cool too. You know what I mean? So that's gonna be next week's episode. I'm really hoping I can get everybody together and get their stories by next week. Because I really want to have this next week episode, next Wednesday. But if not, just stay tuned for it. It is coming. Oh, pun intended. Yes. No, but for real, it's coming. So look out for that. I love y'all. Much gratitude. As always, remember, life is as beautiful as you allow it to be. Self-awareness and perspective is key. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. Much love. Peace.